Team Solutions. So I want to make sure that I welcome everyone, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to our Back to Basics series. This was created through our board of directors for small businesses with the intent on being a resource to help you do business better. Each month, we offer a new topic with some presenters. We invite you to attend our series throughout the year. And please know that all of our previous series are located on the Monroe County Chamber of Commerce website, that you can go back for future views of some of the different topics about marketing, business strategies. They're out there, and we will continue to put our resources on the website. So again, I want to thank everyone for being here. A little bit of housekeeping. There is a chat function on our screen at the very bottom. So if you have any comments throughout our presentation, go ahead and pop those comments on. I'll be certainly watching this. At the end of our presentation, we will be opening it up for a Q&A. So as we kind of move into that, we'll certainly come back for questions. We have some very exciting upcoming chamber events that we want to make sure you add to your calendar. There is a connections group at the Chamber of Commerce. It's Wednesday, June 9th. Come as a guest and check it out. The bi-weekly connections group is available to our chamber members, and it's a way for you to showcase your business, get to know some other small businesses of many different sizes in Monroe County, and they are part of your sales partnerships to help cascade what you do throughout Monroe County. So it's a great way to get referrals and to help get to know other businesses. Friday, June 11th is the Chamber's annual golf outing. We are hoping for a beautiful day. Come out for those that are registered. There's still time to get involved. Even if you're not a golfer, there's lots of opportunities for volunteering and to be part of that event. The other bi-weekly Chamber Connections group will be Wednesday, June 23rd. So if you check that out, feel free to ask myself, Steve, Michelle, we can give you a little bit more information about that. And then we want to make sure that we're showcasing Wednesday, July 14th. Come out and celebrate the 50th annual stakeout. Registration and sponsorship opportunities are available. This tends to be one of the largest networking and connection events in Monroe County. So mark your calendar for that on July 14th. As always, our event sponsors is what helps to make our programming possible. And this morning, our series sponsors are Mark Elliott from Eastman and Smith, Ryan Philbick from the Patriot Group, and Amanda Phoebus from First Merchants Bank. Without them and the different sponsors that we have through the Chamber, we couldn't do different programming. So we thank all of them for their continued support. As we get ready to kick off this morning, we do have Reggie, Kaji here from Express Professionals. I've had the absolute joy and pleasure of getting to know him through the years. I look at him as one of the pillars here in Monroe County. He certainly has an entrepreneur spirit. He has over 20 years experience in hospitality sales and business management. His leadership skills are extraordinary, whether it's as a mentor, a support, certainly in the business management. He is a resource to so many people, as well as employment needs. So he started here in Monroe. It has been a joy to watch him grow. They have now branched out into Tecumseh and Brighton as well. So when we talk about the needs of employment, we're certainly pleased to have an expert here this morning is Reggie, who can kind of walk us through what he's seeing and some of the challenges and wins that we can experience. So at this time, Reggie, I'd like to, put the platform over to you and thank you again for being here as our presenter.
Yes, thanks, Shelley. Thanks for having me. And I think everyone on this meeting is probably some way in a leadership role or dealing with employment or the craziness of 2021 at least. So I don't know if I'm an expert anymore because everything has changed so much. What we used to know is no longer valid, but I would love to put my input in today and kind of what we're seeing in the market and, within our own organizations, even outside of Express Employment. I own other businesses, so it's it's a really interesting time. So it'd be really good to get that information out today. And Steve, if you would let me screen share, I'll get my presentation up.
Yep, Reggie. So if you go to the screen share, you should be able to, on the very
Okay.
bottom of your screen.
All right. I feel like I've been using Zoom forever and I still, there he goes. Thanks, Steve. Let me get it up.
You got it? It should pull
Yeah.
up like another window.
Yeah, I got it. Hang on one second.
The fun of technology.
This is always fun, yes. Okay, there we go. 1 second, folks.
And it takes just a second to bring that up.
Hey, everybody's still getting their coffee, so we're all good.
All right, do you guys see it or
No.
not yet? Okay.
No, not yet.
The other thing is he's bringing that up. We will go into a Q&A period at the end of the presentation. So as he starts the presentation, you know, if you've got questions specific to yourself or other businesses, you know, let's spend some time at the end and kind of do some Q&A, because I'm sure we can all learn from that.
All right, now do you see it, guys?
Yes, we see it, Reggie.
Perfect. Well, I'm not going to get into the outline. That's actually for me to follow, but thank you, Shelley, for introduction. I'm going to get right into stats, actually. Just kind of delve into what we're seeing, some different things in the market right now. I really know that, you know, we're talking about onboarding is a big part of this topic, but I want to get into just employment in general and what we're seeing. So obviously, with the job market being the way it is, and as a leader, I've seen working within our 3 offices right now, we're working with roughly around 200 companies. We're seeing all types of issues, people leaving jobs, people unhappy, and a big part of that is leadership in general. So here we're going to start this slideshow with some stats, right? And some things that people don't really even, you know, think about is 65% of people feel unappreciated at their job. Me as a leader, when I seen that stat, I'm like, holy crap, that means if I have 30 people working for me right now, that's 2/3 of my people that are feeling unappreciated. And I hope not. I mean, obviously we try to take care of people, but this is a crazy, scary stat, right? 76% of companies aren't onboarding their new hires properly. And that's scary in itself. So a big part of why we're here today is talking about onboarding, how important that is. I mean, we see it all the time. You know, someone starts a job and there's no rhyme or reason in why they're starting or where did they go, you know, who are they meeting with? Is there a buddy system? You know, were they given proper orientation? All those things affect onboarding, right? And I know I have some cohorts on here from a different staffing agency, and I'm sure they would nod their head that we see this all the time, right? One of our associates starts a job and, you know, they have no clue what they're getting themselves into. And it's really poor preparation, you know, with our sometimes certain clients or even ourselves as business owners. I've learned over the years that first day is vital. It is vital for that person to make it within your organization. That's the first impression that they get that first day coming into the job. And another pie chart right here, just showing that people who stayed in the same job for less than 2 years, 51%. Holy cow, do you guys remember our parents? I mean, my dad was in the same job for 31 years. I mean, that you just don't see that anymore. And then 30% less than 4 years. So one of the things we're seeing in the employment market is we're getting, you know, people applying for jobs and, you know, there's 5 jobs in 3 years. And that's a new norm now. I even for my own organization, I've been more open-minded because this is kind of what's happening, right? So, you know, how do we get past that stigmatism? How do we get people to stick around longer, right? So I pulled up a quick sample here in the next slide of a employee retention strategy. I just took a basic customer service position. And again, some of these things, it's mind blowing, what you see when you see what's important to an employee in this specific position. For instance, positive work environment was one of the highest things that was important for just a customer service rep, right? How many places do you walk into and then there's this crazy negativity, or people that are on edge, or co-employees not getting along. So those are things that are so important. Obviously, management and supervision being number two. I mean, people quit bosses, they don't quit jobs usually. I think the stat is something like 37% of people leave a job because of a boss. It's a high amount. That's a high amount. Obviously some competitive salary is a big deal, right? Challenging work, all those different things, talk about benefits, bonuses, but just really interesting just to see that one of the highest things that was important for this specific position was the work environment. Move on to the next slide here. Cost of turnover, right? I talk about this with my clients all the time. It's literally 16 to 212% of an employee's annual salary. That's huge. Another quick stat on that is to rehire for an open position typically takes an average decision maker somewhere between 32 and 104 hours. So as a business leader or owner, what's your time worth, right? Up to 100 hours to hire for one position. I mean, that's just asinine. So why high retention is so important, right? Obviously, you get some of the normal stuff that goes on, like lost productivity, disrupted work environments, low morale, increased miscommunication, more mistakes or accidents, especially in a manufacturing facility. You got to retrain someone, for instance, on safety as they come in, where if you had somebody that's been there for 2 years, they've been in and out of safety training. So the chances of them getting injured is a lot less than someone brand new. Low employee engagement and little employee driven improvement. And then, what's high retention look like? Greater profits, who doesn't want to see that, right? Better workplace culture, stronger employee relations, improved communications, high workplace morale, happier customers. Like, how important is that to your business, right? I was listening in, I think somebody wants to open a wine bar, right? I'm more enticed to go to a wine bar if I'm treated well that first 5 seconds I walk in, right? Or have you been anywhere lately? Like right now, we're almost like we're driven to have to deal with people being rude, or just getting your morning cup of coffee. It's like, you give me a smile, I'll give you a $5 tip. So it's important because I want to come back to a business that has happy employees, that when I walk in, I'm treated well. Just look at reviews and that will tell you everything. Obviously employee driven innovation, like this is all part of high retention. I preach it all the time. I mean, even in our own organizations, we find it hard to retain people. There's always something, so if we could do things to make sure that we keep people, it really is cheaper at the end of the day, retaining someone than replacing someone. One of my favorite slides right here, because I love talking about millennials. They are interesting people. So real quick, 91% of millennials stay in their job less than 3 years. That's absolutely scary, considering what a big part of our workforce are millennials right now. So again, less than 3 years. I'm a little bit older than a millennial, just FYI. My first job, I was in it for 7.5 or 8 years, right? So I don't want to call it a job. I own my own business, but the thing is, I still stuck with it for that long. So let's see here, move this down. 78% of millennials would rather spend money on an event over buying something. Okay, so quick tit for tat. We hit a milestone last year in one of our offices and sent out a quick survey monkey. And one of the prizes was a single individual get picked for a trip to Las Vegas for 4 days. And, everyone came to me and said, hey, we rather either split that money up among all of the team, and this is a team of 15 in this specific office, or let's spend the money on an event. So I did a survey monkey so everyone could have their own say, give them 3 options. 90% of the people surveyed wanted to spend the money on a team building event instead of taking the trip, which was A, splitting the money between the staff, which was B, and then C was, let's take this $4,000 and spend it on an event. So if that doesn't tell you something, I don't know what will. And that's the new generation, right? So 54% of millennials want to start their own business or already have started one. So I don't know if you guys follow any of the craziness going on right now, like Reddit, some of these stock things going on where people are buying stocks. So many ways to make money right now. People are knitting things at home and getting on Snapchat or Instagram or whatever the different social media platforms are. So that's something as employers, we have to realize there's other ways to make money nowadays than that typical paycheck, that hourly wage or that salary. 45% of millennials are looking for workplace flexibility over pay. I mean, I'm seeing this firsthand. Hey, boss, can we come in later and leave later? Can we do 410s? Can we have a hybrid model where we're working 3 days in the office and 2 days out? Can I take a weekday off and fill in on a Saturday and get my work done? And, 5 years ago, I tell you the truth, I'd be like, you're crazy. No, we're Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Nowadays, it's okay, let's talk about it. So it's definitely changed, the atmosphere of, especially the millennial worker. You have to adapt, you have to pivot, you have to change in order to make things happen. And I know there's a lot of people out there saying, Reggie, you're crazy. This is not how we run our business. Or I'm in a restaurant. How do you want me to be flexible? Or I'm in a retail setting. We have set hours. Well, I mean, flexibility doesn't just mean in the office setting. There's other ways to be flexible. And again, it goes back to scheduling, the ability to allow people to leave during the day and come back. It sounds harsh and you don't want to set precedents in your business, but it's almost a necessary evil now with a lot of companies reverting to that type of thing. So you just have to be competitive with our companies out there that are already being innovative. All right. Next slide. Some questions that candidates are asking today, right? That are not the typical. I mean, a lot of times, again, just go back 5 years. One of the first questions is, what's the job paying, right? Isn't that the most important thing? Isn't that why people take jobs, right? To make money and pay bills? Or, questions like, what am I going to do? Like, what's my day look like? Now we're seeing more like, what's your company culture like, right? That's one of the big questions we hear all the time, or for companies we're recruiting for, what's their culture like? Because I'm leaving a job. How many people right now are working? I mean, I know we have a high unemployment issue right now, but the candidates that you're going after for your business today are working. They're passive candidates. They want to know these things before they make a change, right? Hold on here. Let's get this off here. Benefits. They're looking for benefits, 401k, holiday pay, PTO. What kind of fun are you having? Those type of things. So that's another big question. And you, as business owners, we have to get competitive with this. I know it's hard. I know some of us work on smaller margins or have a smaller company, but if you want to attract and engage with high level talent, a lot of people, this is what they're looking for. The work-life balance, we just talked about that, can a position be remote if possible? That's something we're seeing a lot of too, even on the contract side, which is very, very interesting. Yeah, I mean, this question is crazy. Like, I've actually interviewed like 20, 25 people over the last year just for internal positions. I've gotten this a few times and it's super weird. Like, what do we do for fun? I don't know. It's a job, like that's what I want to say. That's the old me. But we have fun. I mean, obviously we're always doing stuff and team building and stuff like that, but that's a big deal for employees now, that engagement, right? The ability to engage with your workforce, have some fun. I know work's stressful. There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of moving parts in most jobs, but our workforce now wants to, and that doesn't matter what setting you're in, really. You can have fun in any setting. You could do things to engage your employee in any setting. Again, I have experience in not just my staffing company, but in the restaurant business and retail as well, and other businesses, commercial real estate. We have employees that work for us. We want our leadership teams to be engaging with our employees and make sure that the environment is fun, safe, and that's a big deal, and it's really helped with retention. All right. Oh, so culture and retention. We talk about that. It's a real big deal, and part of your culture, it has to be why you're in business. A lot of people talk about culture so loosely, but it is really the environment created in the workplace. Okay, it must be intentional. If you have leadership teams that are working within your organizations, you have to make sure that they understand that culture just doesn't happen overnight. You don't let your employees choose it. You, the leadership team, owners, business owners, you create and make the culture. Okay. So it has to be intentional. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Culture is the character and personality of your organization. Like I say this all the time, it's your business. How do you define it? And I think a lot of people, get lost into allowing their workforce to create the culture, and that's where you get a lot of that negative repercussion. Your organization's greatest strength is people, right? I mean, it really is. What is your organization doing to attract people? And I go back and revert to some of the slides before. People are looking for a fun environment. People are looking for good workplace culture. People are looking for great benefits. They're looking for workforce flexibility. They're looking for all the things that we have to now offer. How do we do that and stay profitable? How do we do that and stay, within our business model? That's something that as leaders, we have to really figure out, because if we don't, we're not going to attract these people. And again, the people you want working for your organization are typically already working passive candidates. So it goes back to all these different things. I mean, people now, they have the ability to go online and go on any web platform and see what your reviews are, right? So what's your business's reputation look like? If it's not good, you need to clean it up, because that's one of the biggest things. I mean, people, I looked you up before I came in. I went on your social media page, right? I went on Glassdoor and seen your reviews of ex-employees. Onboarding and training, really why we're here today, right? Look, I mean, what does that look like in your organization? I've actually added a couple links on this slide. One of them is our Engage to Retain. It's like a video series that you watch and do a couple of exercises. It's all free. It's actually really good. At first, I thought it was a cheesy marketing thing from our corporate office, but it's actually a really good link to click on, and small training. It's not too long. And then there's also a company culture guide that I added to this slide that you can just click on and pull up and download. But back to onboarding and training, we see so many organizations that have terrible onboarding procedures. Okay, Mike shows up to the workplace. No one's there to greet him. He's waiting in a lobby for 15 minutes. He's already frustrated, red in the cheeks. What the heck's going on? I thought I started this job. I should already be working. Oh, okay, Mike, thank you for waiting. It's been 15 minutes. Come on in. I'm going to put you on a machine and start working. Okay, well, where's the bathroom? Where's the break room? Are you going to walk me through your facility? Are you going to introduce me to other employees? Who's my direct supervisor? right? I mean, we see this time and time again, not just on a industrial setting, but in some professional settings, like no buddy system, no training program. Like, how do you start someone without any rhyme or reason on what they're going to be doing, let alone even getting their information uploaded, I-9s and stuff like that. Like, there's so much more to onboarding than just paperwork, right? Typically for us, we always try to onboard someone a little bit later in the day, so that way we have our feet under us and we can give them full attention. Okay, you lose an hour of that person being in, but it makes so much sense. So if we open at 8, we bring them in at 9. We have a cup of coffee ready for them. We ask them questions prior to coming in. We even go as far as, what's your favorite candy? What's your, favorite movie? So we have an idea of who this person is, and we have a little gift basket ready for them when they walk in. Immediately they're engaged. Immediately they feel way more appreciated than that person that started somewhere else. And it's got to be, again, it's back to that culture, intentional, right? Part of onboarding is you have to be intentional in your onboarding. You have to have some kind of rhyme or reason in why you do what you do. And, for us, we've seen an increase in enthusiasm that first week from a new employee, because, damn, this company cares about me. Like, they went as far as going to learn what type of candy I like, and they put it in their break room so we have enough stock, right? Small things like that go a long way. I always encourage people, if you have branded materials, put it in a little gift bag, right? Even if it's a retail position, guys, I meant some t-shirts to change and have fresh, right? It could be the smallest thing, a gift card to get back and forth for gas for a lower paid employee. That small appreciation is, we appreciate you joining our organization, right? So onboarding goes past paperwork. I think a lot of people really need to watch our Engage to Retain program. It's really good. It actually opened my eyes up to some things that I was like, oh man, we should be doing this. Another thing that I really, 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 really want to, press here is set the expectations for a new hire immediately. They need to know what the job's going to be day one. They need to know before day one, to be quite honest with you. But once they walk in that door, don't let this be a slippery slope, right? Because we hear this all the time. They started out great, they had a good attitude, and then all of a sudden they just fell off. Well, did you set the expectation? Did you tell them what the job is going to be? Did you show them what a day looks like? And a lot of times, we get lost and busy, right? I'm too busy. I hear that all the time. Well, I'm too busy. I can't hold someone's hand. Well, guess what? My expectation for a new employee is, if you need to meet them out in the parking lot, walk them in, show them everything, set that expectation day one, then you need to make that time. Otherwise, don't hire them. Wait to hire them until you have the time, right? So we see that all the time and time again. We see people, hire someone, they work for 3 days, and then they're gone, because they just didn't have a plan for that specific employee. Now, I'm not saying some bad apples on the tree. There's people that just, no matter what you do, it's not going to work. But I think the more of this stuff that we do, the better chance we have of making sure our new hire is successful. Our next few slides are going to be just some basic stuff I pulled off of Michigan Works, Southeast Michigan Works website, just for some links and stuff that maybe people on here don't know about that are available. And also, I want to plug my good friend Shelly Taylor in the next slide. I've sat in on some of her training. It's phenomenal. She's actually probably given me a lot of free sessions as well, down drinking coffee. So I usually buy the coffee though. Okay, Shelly. So I make sure that I don't take all the information I get from you for free. But she's got some cool events coming up this summer. I definitely, if you have workplace culture issues, team engagement issues, you guys, or if you know anyone that does, you need to plug Shelly. She's great at what she does. She really cares about her clients. And again, I've seen it firsthand. I don't usually give plugs to people unless I believe in their ability. And I really do believe that Shelly can make a difference in your business if you need it. And be quite honest, I think all of us kind of need it. we all struggle sometimes. So Shelly, there's your flyer in there. Couple other resources. There's so much if you go to Michigan Works for businesses that are really having issues, on the job training programs, customized training, the Scoring Pro Talent Fund, ships. There's so much that that you can get out of just going to Michigan Works and dabbling in their website. I know it's been tricky with them because they're working virtually, but I've been able to partner with someone through the Southeast chapter, and there's stuff that I never even realized was there. And I just added it in these slides so people could have access to it. And again, it goes back to grants, training, upgrading skills of existing eligible employees. So they're giving out some money if you guys want to go out and get it, business owners especially. Oh yeah, here's the approval ratios, 99%. So you could almost have a heartbeat and get approved. I would definitely recommend looking at what they have available. One of these success coaches, if you have a bigger organization, and I don't know who's going to tune into this webinar afterwards, but this is really cool. We've actually seen this at a client facility where they come in and meet with people and really help people that are struggling. As far as even childcare, getting transportation, all kinds of resources. And again, guys, this is free, right? You just have to be eligible for it. And I definitely encourage my clients to look at this as a tool that they can use. This is interesting too, with the unemployment we have going on right now, getting people back to work. I guess if you sign up for this program, people could still get their $300 and partial unemployment. But if you're really struggling for employees and you're willing to give them part-time work just to get them back, I know there's a program that you could look into. It seems unfair, but right now we are in some weird, desperate times for labor. So just another one I plugged in there. Last but not least, just wanted to make sure that I kind of dabbled into everything I talked about today. The future, things to consider. And I mean, really, this is more like my view on things. Do you view your employees as investments? I see so many companies that view their employees as resources instead of investing in them. A resource is something you use and you get rid of, right? If I have a bottle of water, I drink it and I throw the bottle away and I'm done with it. Right. But I've changed my mindset personally over the last 5 years, is viewing my employees as investments. What I put into them, I will get out. And if we continue to have that mindset, I think we all will have better engagement and higher retention. Again, taking advantage of some of the tools and resources that are available right now. Does your organization invest in leadership and management training? I mean, this is where it's at, guys. It all boils down to the top. If your top is untrained, if their skills, their management skills are bad or weak, it's going to be a reflection of your organization. And I can't stress this enough, and including myself. And then right now I have 57 employees between 5 businesses. It starts with me. I have people that work under me. I have to be engaged with them. I have to be continuously training them on how to be better, right? And that's the only way they're able to then take that skill set and bring it down to the bottom half of the ladder. So this is something that we really need to be thinking about within our organizations as the future comes. It's more important for us to have a strong leadership team than it is strong employees, because you won't have strong employees without a strong leadership team. Okay, let's go back to 37% of people quit their bosses. And again, back to does your organization, this is something you should reflect on. If you don't have a good onboarding and training policy, let's get on the phone. I'll help you with it. Or call Shelly. She can help you with it. And more than anything, you have to have this. This is, and again, I've had this, the last time I did this presentation, I had a lot more people on it. It was a late afternoon chamber event with a different chamber, but I had questions coming at me left and right about the fact that well, I'm a retail business or I'm a restaurant. How do you expect me to have an effective strategy, right? Well, then don't be in business. That's my answer is you have to have, no matter what you are, a business with employees has to have onboarding and training in place. Otherwise run a one show and it's a lot easier. So I'm just going to leave it at that and open it up to questions. Shelley, you can take the floor from here.
Thank you. And I'll have you unshare your screen.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Reggie. Really some really great information in there. I do have a couple things myself, but I'd like to open it up for comments and Q&A because these are things I think that affect every business. And it's interesting about the onboarding. I cannot tell you the number of clients that I work with, and I echo what Reggie said. The onboarding process is so incredibly important. So I want to open this up for some Q&A or comments if anyone has anything.
Sure, I do. I just wanted to say you did a great job, Reggie, on that presentation. And I wish that more companies were on this and heard what he had to say, because I don't think it's even pertinent to just this time. It's pertinent. It was pertinent 5 years ago, like he said, even more so now. What do you have any ideas for, like, what kind of things do you do to engage your employees? I know that you had mentioned it is tough to do during the day when you're trying to juggle and multitask so many different things. How do you have time to incorporate the fun?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. It is tough, but again, going back to being intentional, so when we have, especially a newer employee, I think it's so important that first 90 days that you have some type of structure in place. Like we have a whole manual on a new employee now. I can't even believe that I'm saying this, but we do. From day 1 to day 5 to day 30, day 60, day 90. I mean, part of engagement is get to know who that employee is, right? So I intentionally, on the first Friday of a new employee, whether we're going to have a 4th office soon, any of my offices, I make sure that I'm there on that Friday and I'm taking them out to lunch. And we're going to have a 2-hour lunch. Maybe let them have a beer if they like a beer, just one. But it's partially that engagement, getting to know them on a personal level, and that care factor. Like, man, my boss, who drives all around Southeast Michigan, came 45 miles one way just to have lunch with me today, right? And if I can't make it for whatever reason, that first week, I make sure someone on my leadership team is doing it. It could be as simple as, hey, let's catch a cup of coffee before work today, just to get to know them a little bit better. Usually the team, or at least our team, they'll try to do something in the first 30 days where they do an after work event to hang out with the employee, and I'll give them a budget and say, here's my credit card, go ahead, put it on there. Whether it's going to Buffalo Wild Wings or, whatever it is. And not everyone has to participate, obviously. But as your teams get larger, if 4 or 5 people participate, that's perfect. And again, I think, Tara, back to what you're saying, you're right. This was a lot before 5 years ago, even maybe, but I think it's catching up to us a lot quicker now. Is in a smaller organization, it has to be the boss, right? In a larger organization, I mean, you see some big companies, as simple as you see companies now doing Taco Tuesday, right? Or, casual Friday with lunch. There's so many things you can do. Yeah, and it costs money, but guess what? If it keeps people in your organization, what is it costing you to refill that position? You're in staffing. You know how expensive it is to refill a position and retrain someone. So I think just making sure we continuously do stuff like that. Our team is having a baseball game I think it's in July. My wife's dealing with it, not me. But anyhow, we're going to play against each other, a couple different offices, and provide the beverages and food, and make it a 3-hour, close early. Like, sometimes it's not all about money, and I think a lot of organizations sometimes are too engaged in profit and loss than they are, what's my ROI on a happy team?
Well, I want to add to that, Reggie. It's interesting. I literally am in the process of helping a client put together their onboarding training. And I love the components that you're talking about because it's really touching that person emotionally. And in the 5-day, and it truly was a 5-day onboarding program for training, they're assigned a buddy, they're assigned a mentor within the organization, and they've got built-in dialogue. Tell me why you think you're a good fit for the company. You know, how are you doing with your training? They ask key questions each day, simple, on the things that they learned before. Because the other thing that we're finding in today's industry with staffing is we've got to make sure that we're cascading the training in a way that it's being taught and it's being cascaded. Because the other thing, you give somebody a manual for training and we expect them to read it, process this, and learn it. And that's not the way it's happening today. It needs to be relational, it needs to be engaging, and they need to have references. So, you know, the thing is to really encourage lots of people to step back. What's working, what's not. And the one thing that Reggie talked about earlier too was just, you know, about that old engagement, the old you about engagement with fun. And even though business owners are pivoting, even though it's stressful, it's taking the time to brainstorm. How do you engage? How do you get the Taco Tuesday? How do you get the Casual Friday? And I challenge all of us, if we're not doing those things, give yourself some mental space to figure out how do you do it? Because those are the very things that are starting to really matter and separate that engagement. As hard as it is, and I would, you know, I defer this to Reggie, but when he went through the page that showed all the different engagement statistics, compensation was 4th. So, you know, everyone's not looking for the top dollar. There are other things that do matter. And what does that mean for your company? So, you know, interesting feedback today. And you're like, you know, Tara said, great information on the presentation.
Yeah, and I agree with Tara too. It is really hard to fit it in a day. It's something you're asking. It's a huge chore. It's a huge task. But it goes back to, is it harder to replace someone within your own organization than it is to take the time to invest in the engagement with your current and new staff? And let's not forget about our current staff, right? Like we have to make sure that, you know, we stay up with what's going on. You know, what's in their head. I mean, how many companies don't do like one-on-ones with their team? I mean, it's so important. I mean, I'm not doing them with every single person, but I have people that do them within my organization, and then I get that feedback, and we could see if we've got some slippery slope stuff going on, or someone's disengaged, or if someone's not happy, or something's going on, and we can nip that in the butt. And even then, it's not perfect.
Any other questions, comments?
Speaking of the one-on-ones, so we do them, but I often feel like sometimes they turn into like basically like bitch sessions, or like I'm coming down on them about things that they need to improve on and things. So do you have anything that you recommend that you do with your employees, or that you have your leadership team do, that makes them more motivated and that it doesn't turn into those?
Love that. You hit it on the nose, the bitch session. I ran into that a lot when I was doing them. So what I changed was mine are structured. Like we're coming in, I'm typically sending you 3 to 4 topics we're going to talk about, and we're keeping it to that. Okay. They're very structured. I actually took a training on this. Our corporate office offered a training, and I went out and trained, and I couldn't believe how wrong I was doing one-on-ones, because I allowed it to be that, you know, give and take, and you take it over. So now, I mean, even when I'm meeting with my office managers or sales team, I'm taking it over. Like, this is my one-on-one with you. Here is the structure it's going to be, and we're going to have substance. We're not going to have Molly told Susie this, and, you know, this person didn't make the coffee right in the morning. I don't need to know that, right? But what I do need to know is, especially with my leadership team, is like, I need like substance to come out of it. And it's very structured. I'm not wasting their time. One thing I can tell you is people tell you to do it once a week. I think that is a little overkill, especially with some of your senior staff. You know, once every 2 to 3 weeks is sufficient. That way you're not, churning that wheel and talking about the same thing over and over. But with new employees, oh my God, once a week is so important, that first, 30, 60, 90 days, because you really want to see where their engagement level is, and where their head's at. And again, it goes back to taking that time. But great question, Mindy. Hopefully that helped. I'm not sure, like there is no perfect way to do it, but you really need to take control of that one-on-one and make sure that you are leading it and the substance is good and it's structured going in.
Thank you.
Awesome. The one thing I want to leave us all with, including myself, is to take a moment this morning before you get too caught up in the rest of your day. And as Reggie went through the presentation in the last 45 minutes, chances are each of you felt something. Each of you identified with something, whether it's onboarding, training, turnkey, retention, something that he said. And I encourage you, reach out to Reggie, reach out to myself if you've got questions, but give yourself an action to take away from today. Give yourself something to do to enhance your business, your employee, your culture. Take the stuff that you learned this morning and bring it right back into your business or some clients or the people that you're working with to see how can you take the information today and make a difference in your business over the next 30 to 60 days. And again, if you need assistance, brainstorming, ideas, Reggie's available as well as myself. So, take that time and invest in yourself. So I want to thank you again, Reggie, for your participation this morning and for being here. And as always, I want to thank our sponsors again, Eastman & Smith, the Patriot Group, and the First Merchants Bank. It is 10 to 9. I want to thank you all for being here. And please, watch our future notices for our Back to Basics series so that you can join us again. We've got some fantastic topics coming up about social media and HR functions that will be coming up in both August and September, and we'll stay tuned for the July topic. So hope to see you all again in some of our Back to Basics series, and I hope you all have a great day.
Bye guys, thanks.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you.